Hello friends, I welcome you in this 10th video of the circular series. Friends, will be starting with the circular number 46 today. Circular number 46 to circular number 50 will be the part of this particular video. Circular number 46, let me open it. Circular number 46 of 2018 is dated 6th June 2018. 6th June 2018, and this clarifies about the GST rate on priority sector lending certificates, renewable energy certificates, and other scripts. So this is what is being clarified in this circular. So a lot of representations were received by the board, and therefore they have came out with this clarification. And point 2, they are saying that in response to an FAQ, it was clarified on 27th of July 2017 that MEIS and other scripts like SEIS and IEIS are goods which are classified under heading 4907 and will attract 12% GST, which is general GST rate for goods falling under 4907. Subsequently, the duty credit scripts which are classifiable under 4907 were exempted from GST, while stock, share or bond certificates and similar documents of title other than duty credit scripts classifiable under the heading 4907 will attract 12%. So they are saying that this will be attracting 12%, although there are certain things which are made exempted. So they are again clarifying that duty credit scripts which are classifiable under 4907 were exempted from GST, while stock, share or bond certificates and similar documents of title attract 12% GST. So duty scripts जितने भी थे उसको exempt कर दिया गया. That is what they are providing for. Later on, circular number 34/2018 was issued on 1st March 2018, which was clarifying कि जो priority sector lending certificates हैं, this will be taxable as goods at a standard rate of 18% under the residual entry 453 of Schedule 3 of Notification 1/2017. So this also was clarified in this circular. As a result, there is a lack of clarity on the applicable rate of GST on various scripts, certificates like REC, PSLC, etc. And therefore, they have re-examined the entire matter, and rate of GST, which is 18% under the residual entry, which is 453 of Schedule 3 of Notification number 1/2017, applies only to those goods. I'm repeating, it says 18% applies only to those goods which are not covered under the entries of Schedule 1, 2, 4, 5 or 6 of the notification. So 1/2017 में 18% की जो बात कर रहे हैं, it is applicable only those goods which are not covered in Schedule 1, 2, 4, 5 or 6 of the notification. In other words, if any goods are covered under any of the entries of Schedule 1, 2, 4, 5 or 6, the GST rate applicable on them shall be decided accordingly without resorting to the residual entry, which is 453 of Schedule 3. And as such, various certificates like REC, PSLC, etc. are classified under heading 4907 and will accordingly attract the rate of GST at 12%. So, though the duty paying scripts classifiable under same heading will attract nil GST. So, it is clarified. Again, I am repeating, जो भी certificates हैं REC, PSLC, वो 4907 की हेडिंग में क्लैरिफिकेशन में आएंगे, 4907 क्लासिफिकेशन में, एंड विल अकॉर्डिंगली अट्रैक्ट 16% रेट. जबकि जो ड्यूटी पेइंग स्क्रिप्ट्स है वो क्लासिफेबल सेम हेडिंग में होंगे लेकिन निल रेट ऑफ जीएसटी उसके ऊपर लगेगा. एंड दिस इज अंडर सीरियल नंबर 122A ऑफ 2/2017 notification dated 28 June 2017 as amended by notification number 35/2017 dated 13th October 2017. And accordingly, in modification of serial number 3 of circular number 34/2018, it is hereby clarified that renewable energy certificate, REC certificates, and the priority sector lending certificates are and other similar documents are classifiable under 4907 and attract 12%, sorry, and not 18%, which was clarified in that 34/2018. And the duties credit scripts, however, attract nil GST under serial number 122A 122A of the notification number 2/2017 dated 28th June 2017. So friends, this was 46/2017. Moving to 47/2017, which clarifies about the certain issues of GST in relation to services. 47/2018 dated 8th June 2018. First issue which they are clarifying is whether molds and dies owned by the original equipment manufacturers OEM that are sent free of cost to a component manufacturer is leviable to tax, and whether OEMs are required to reverse input tax credit in this case. So now the clarification given is molds and dies owned by the OEM which are provided to a component manufacturer on free of charge basis or free of cost basis does not constitute a supply as there is no consideration involved. So very correctly it is mentioning section 7 में consideration होना चाहिए supply के लिए, वो नहीं है. Further, since the molds and dies are provided on free of cost by the OEM to the component manufacturer in the course or furtherance of business, there is no requirement for reversal of input tax credit availed on such molds and dies by OEM. Further, they are clarifying that while calculating the value of the supply made by the component manufacturers, the value of molds and dies provided by the OEM to the component manufacturer on free of cost basis shall not be added to the value of such supply because the cost of mold dies was not to be incurred by the component manufacturers and therefore does not merit inclusion in the value of supply in terms of 15 subsection 2 clause B of the CGST Act 2017. तो वो जो फ्री में जो आपको मिलेगा कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर को उसको भी इंक्लूड नहीं करना है वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई में. However, if the contract between the OEM and the component manufacturers was for supply of components made by using the molds or dies belonging to the component manufacturers, so it is said कि अगर वहां पे कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है OEM का और कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर का for supply of components which is made by using the mold or dies which are belonging to the component manufacturers, but the same have been supplied by the OEM to the component manufacturer on FOC basis, the amortized cost of such mold or dies shall be added to the value of the components. तब वो ऐड करें. In such cases, the OEM will be required to reverse the credit availed on such molds or dies as the same will not be considered to be provided by the OEM to the component manufacturer in the course or furtherance of business of the former's business. So दिस इज वेरी क्लियर कि अगर ऐसा रहेगा जहाँ पे उसके ही कोई कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर का ही कोई था तो उस केस में कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर उसको कॉस्ट में इंक्लूड करेगा और जो OEM मैन्युफैक्चरर है OEM है वो उसको रिवर्स करेगा. हाउ इज द सर्विसिंग ऑफ कार्स involving both supply of goods, spare parts and supply of services where the value of goods and services are shown separately to be treated under GST. Now it says the taxability of supply would have to be determined on a case-to-case basis, looking at the facts and circumstances of the cases. Where the supply involves supply of both goods and services and the value of such goods and services supplied are shown separately, the goods and services would be liable to tax at the rates at applicable to such goods and services separately. So they are clarifying कि जो पहले हुआ करता था जहाँ पे गुड्स अलग से दिखा रहे हैं और सर्विसेज अलग से दिखा रहे हैं वहाँ पे अलग अलग रेट्स लगेंगे. लेकिन अगर ये रहेगा तो व्हाट इज द पॉइंट इन हैविंग द कंसेप्ट ऑफ कंपोजिट सप्लाई. So that again is a very valid question that I would raise. So this on this point I'm not that convinced, but they are clarifying it. This is a wonderful clarification wherein हर लोग यही करते थे पहले वैट में और सर्विस टैक्स जब होता था गुड्स का अलग रेट लगा देते थे सर्विस से अलग दो कॉलम बना के बाइफरकेट कर देते थे. जीएसटी में दे हैव अलाउड द सेम. ये क्लैरिफिकेशन में उन्होंने बोल दिया कि आप अलग अलग रेट लगेगा उसका. लेकिन आई हैव माय ओन डाउट्स कि इफ इट इज अ कंपोजिट सप्लाई वेयर इन द स्पेयर्स or services are provided in conjunction with each other, then how and on what basis the separate rates can be applied on that particular service of the vehicle. So that is a question which comes to my mind after reading this particular clarification. So just for you, this is a food for thought that you need to be keep in mind. Moving to third question. It says in case of auction of tea, coffee, rubber, etc., where the books of accounts are required to be maintained at every place of business by the principal and the auctioneer, and whether they are eligible to input tax credit. तो ऑक्शन जो होता है टी कॉफी रबर का, जहाँ पे बुक्स और अकाउंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो अकाउंट्स और बुक्स जो है वो सभी जगह पे मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा प्रिंसिपल को और ऑक्शनर को, और क्या इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट उसको मिलेगा, दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. The requirement of maintaining the books of accounts at the principal place of business and additional places of business is clarified as below. For the purpose of auction of tea, coffee, rubber, etc., the principal and the auctioneer may declare the warehouses where such goods are stored as their additional place of business. बहुत clear है कि warehouses को additional place of business की तरह declare कर दे. The buyer is also required to disclose such warehouse as his additional place of business. Buyer को भी वही additional place of business declare कर दे. Because if he wants to store the goods purchased through auction in say such warehouse for the purpose of supply of tea through a private treaty, the principal and the auctioneer may also comply with the said provision. Further, it is said the principal and auctioneer for the purpose of auction of tea, coffee, rubber, etc., or the principal and the auctioneer for the purpose of supply of tea through a private treaty are required to maintain the books of accounts relating to each and every place of business in that place itself in terms of first proviso to subsection 1 of section 35 of the CGST Act. However, in case difficulties are faced in maintaining the books of accounts, it is clarified that they may maintain books of accounts pertaining to additional places of business at their principal place of business instead of such additional place. So they are clarifying. ये पहले भी हमने एक सर्कुलर में देखा है, अभी भी वापस इन्होंने क्लैरिफाई कर दिया कि आप एक जगह रखोगे तो भी चलेगा, हालांकि एज पर लॉ इट हैज टू बी केप्ट separately at each place, whether it is principal place of business or the additional place of business. The principal and the auctioneer for the purpose of auction of tea, coffee, rubber, etc., or the principal and the auctioneer for the purpose of supply of tea through a private treaty shall intimate their jurisdictional officer in writing about the maintenance of books of accounts relating to additional places of business at their principal place of business. So this additional duty has been casted on them कि अगर वो ऐसा कर रहे हैं कि principal place पे ही maintain कर रहे हैं, then they should inform the jurisdictional officer about the maintenance of the books at one place, that is principal place of business, and not at the additional place of business. Further, जो दूसरा क्वेश्चन था उसमें it is clarified that the principal and the auctioneer for the purpose of auction of tea, coffee, rubber, etc., or the principal and auctioneer for the purpose of supply of tea through a private treaty shall be eligible to avail input tax credit subject to the fulfillment of other conditions of the CGST Act read with the rules made thereunder. So अगर वो rules को और act को comply करते हैं, provisions को comply करते हैं, तो वो credit के लिए eligible हैं. In case of transportation of goods by railways, whether goods can be delivered even if the e-way bill is not produced at the time of delivery, अगर रेलवे से कैरी हो रहा है तो clarification given is as per proviso to rule 138 sub rule 2A of the CGST rules 2017, the railways shall not deliver the goods unless e-way bill is produced at the time of delivery. जब तक e-way bill produce नहीं होगा तब तक वो railway deliver नहीं करेगा. Whether e-way bill is required in the following cases: 1, where goods transit through another state while moving from one area in a state to another area in the same state. जहाँ पे goods transit हो रहे हैं एक another state से, जहाँ पे while moving from one area in a state to another state area in the same state. So it may be noted that e-way bill generation is not dependent on whether a supply is intra-state or interstate, but on whether the movement of goods is interstate or not. Therefore, if the goods transit through a second state while moving from one place in a state to another place in the same state, an e-way bill is required to be generated. It is very clear, it has to be generated. Where goods move from DTA to SEZ or vice versa located in the same state. Where goods move from DTA to SEZ or vice versa located in the same state, there is no requirement to generate e-way bill if the same has been exempted under Rule 138(14) Clause D of the CGST rules. अगर वो exempted है तो फिर उनको maintain करने की जरूरत नहीं है. So friends, this was circular number 47/2018 dated 8th June 2018, wherein certain clarifications with respect to the GST on services or certain issues was clarified. Next, moving to 48/2018, friends, this also clarifies 48/2018, 14th June 2018. This also clarifies certain issues which are pertaining to GST. First issue which has been involved here is whether the services of short-term accommodation, conferencing, banqueting, etc. provided to a special economic zone developer or SCZ unit would be treated or should be treated as interstate supply or an intrastate supply. That is the question. Now they are saying, as per section 75B of the IGST, the supply of goods or services or both to SCZ developer or SCZ unit shall be treated to be supply of goods or services or both in the course of interstate supply or interstate trade or commerce. Whereas, as per section 12(3)(c) of the IGST Act, the place of supply of services by way of accommodation in any immovable property for organizing any function shall be location of at which the immovable property is located. Therefore, in such cases, if the location of the supplier and the place of supply is in the same state, union territory, it will be treated as intra-state supply. तो उस situation में they are saying कि ये intra-state supply मानी जाएगी. Second, it is an established principle of interpretation of statute that in case of an apparent conflict between two provisions, the specific provision shall prevail over the general provision. So specific will prevail. In the instant case, 75B is a specific provision relating to supplies of goods or services to SEZ developer or SEZ unit, which states that it shall be a interstate supply. Therefore, it is clarified that short-term accommodation, conferencing, banqueting, etc. provided to SEZ developer or SEZ unit shall be treated as interstate supplies. They have clarified that this will be treated as an interstate supply and not an intrastate supply. Next question which has been posed is whether the benefit of zero rated supply can be allowed to all procurements by SEZ developer or SEZ unit, such as event management services, hotel and accommodation services, consumables, etc. Now, as per section 16(1), zero rated supply means supply of goods or services or both to an SEZ developer or SEZ unit, whereas 16(3) of the IGST Act provides for refund to a registered person making zero rated supplies under bond or LUT or payment of integrated tax subject to such conditions, safeguards and procedure as may be prescribed. So this is what is provided in section 16 subsection 3 कि अगर आप condition satisfy करोगे तो आपको refund मिलेगा. Further, as per the second proviso to rule 89(1), the CGST rules in respect of supplies to SEZ developer or SEZ unit, the application for refund can be filed by the supplier of the goods after such goods have been admitted in full in SEZ for authorized operations as endorsed by the specified officer of the zone. Supply of services along with such evidences regarding receipt of services for authorized operations as authorized by the specific officer of the zone. A conjoint reading of the above legal provisions reveals that the supplies to SEZ developer or SEZ unit shall be zero rated and supplier shall be eligible for refund of unutilized input tax credit or integrated tax paid as the case may be. Only if such supplies have been received by the SEZ developer or SEZ unit for authorized operation. An endorsement to this effect shall have to be issued by the specified officer of the zone. So वो issue करेगा and therefore subject to the conditions of section 17(5), if event management services, hotel accommodation services, consumables, etc. are received by the SEZ developer or SEZ unit for authorized operations as endorsed by the specific officer of the zone, the benefit of zero rated supply shall be allowed, shall be available in such cases to the supplier. So in this case, it is clearly said कि अगर आपके specific operations, specified operations के लिए अगर है तो आपको मिलेगा, otherwise आपको refund नहीं मिलेगा. Whether independent fabric processors in the textile sector supplying job work services are eligible for refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of inverted duty structure under section 54(3) of the CGST Act, even if goods supplied are covered under notification number 5/2017. So now this is redundant almost because of 5/2017 में ही वो सारी चीजें involve हो गई हैं, refund मिलता है. But let us see the clarification what they have given. They says that 5/2017 specify the goods in respect to which the refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of inverted duty structure under section 54(3) of the CGST shall not be allowed, where the credit has accumulated on account of rate of tax on inputs higher than the rate of tax on output. However, in case of fabric processors, the output supplies the supply of job work and not goods or fabrics. Therefore, it is clarified that the fabric processors shall be eligible for refund of unutilized ITC on account of inverted duty structure under section 54(3) of the CGST Act, even if the goods or fabrics even of the fabrics supplied to them are covered under notification number 5/2017. So they are clarifying that yes, the processors will get the refund. 48/2018 dated 14th June 2018. Moving to 49/2018. So we have left with one circular, दो circular हमने छोड़े हैं जिसकी हम अलग से वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. 38 and 49 number, 41 number. So 41 number से ही continuation में 49/2018 है. So this also will be covering with the circular number 41. So 41 and 49 will be dealing together because this is pertaining to the entire process of detention and release of the vehicles. And now moving to 50/2018. So 50/2018 31 जुलाई 2018 31 जुलाई 2018 का ये सर्कुलर है, wherein it is saying that withdrawal of circular 28/2018 8 जनवरी 2018 को जो 28/2018 निकाला था, which was amended, is now withdrawal, is now getting withdrawn. So सर्कुलर नंबर 28/2018 8/1/2018 को जो कॉरिजेंडम 18/1/2018 को वापस से अमेंड किया गया था कॉरिजेंडम के द्वारा, was issued to clarify GST rate on the catering services, that is supply of food or drink in mess or canteen in an educational institution. Also, Order 2/2018 of Central Tax was issued to clarify the GST rate on supply of food or drinks by Indian Railway or Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation Limited or their licenses in trains or at platform. So now they are explaining this. They have already withdrawn it. Now they are explaining that consequent to the discussions in the 28th GST Council on 21 July 2018, the contents of the circular 28/2018 as amended by its corrigendum 18th January 2018 has been incorporated in serial number 7 of the notification number 13/2018 of the central rate dated 26th July 2018. So whatever was clarified there is now a part of the notification. So they have amended the original notification 11/2018 to the tune of this. They have incorporated those clarifications in this notification itself in 13/2018 dated 26 July 2018, and also the contents of order 2/2018 which was dated 31st March 2018 have been incorporated in serial number 71A. तो 71 और 71A में 13/2018 में these explanations, circulars, orders have already been incorporated, and therefore now they are saying that circular number 28, which was amended by corrigendum, and order number 2/28 is withdrawn with effect from 27/2018, 27th July 2018. From that day they are withdrawing this circular, and from that day the notification of 13/2018 will be made effective. So friends, this is what we have covered in this video number 10, circular number 46 to circular number 10. Circular number 50. Now in next video we'll be covering from circular number 51 to circular number 55. By that time, I'm thankful to each one of you for giving me the patience hearing and giving me the opportunity of sharing my views so far as the circulars which are issued under the CGST. Till date we are going to cover each and every circular, and we are going to understand what the clarifications the government has given. I would again give a disclaimer that I am not giving any opinion on any of the circulars. It is merely a clarification which was given by the government that I am reiterating. That's it. Just I'm trying to discuss all these clarifications which have been given by the government. So once again, thank you friends. Thanks a lot.